You are feeling sleepy. You are feeling relaxed. You are feeling very sleepy. I'm not surprised because you're watching a Steel Limit Stand video. So, there you go. GSTP, General Service Trade Pattern, the serial number on there. Doesn't work, of course. It only cost me £5. I unwound the springs, it was wound tight, but I'm not going to do any more with it. £5. I'll just put a leather fob on it or whatever was supposed to be on these. It'll go on display. That's alright for hypnotising the cats. Don't attack your dad's display. Anyway, my neighbour must wonder what goes on in here. I'm changing mannequins. All she can hear is you bastard. Anyway, enough of that tomfoolery. 2 serious videos today done. Now for a bit of fun, if you like. So, top Instagrammer, Military Helmets, Wayne, man isn't mentioning his name there, he has asked me, he sent me these comics, I'll tell you the tale behind it, but he's asked me to say on YouTube, rather, go to his Instagram page, Military Helmets. He collects a lot of relic German ones, you know, sometimes treats them, sometimes not, sometimes sells them on, sometimes not. He's got a real good Instagram page and they're well presented, well photographed. So go and check out Military Helmets. He's trying to get 1,000 subscribers or followers on Instagram. I don't use Instagram that much. I'm a bit slack on there. Hopefully he will do some YouTube videos. He has got a YouTube channel, but he's more of an Instagrammer. So Military Helmets on Instagram. So he has a man cave like mine, upstairs in the loft, and he was showing some pictures of, I think it was like sort of more African, native African spears and stuff like that, which was outside of my area of interest. But you know, when you follow somebody, you give it a look. And what I noticed on the wall was he had loads of these framed on the wall, Warlord. And I commented and I said, Military Helmets, they are cool as F, swear word, because they just look brilliant. He said, Stan, because you are such a top bloke, which of course I am, I will send you a few spares down. So he sent me the spares down. Now I read every night, just for an hour, half an hour. So I think there's 6 magazines, the 2 annuals. I spent the week on the night just reading through them and reminiscing with the old Warlord magazine comic. Now, a little bit of history about it. Warlord was made by DC Thompson. 1974 was a weekly comic. At the end of 1978, Warlord absorbed its sister comic, The Bullet. Now, I do remember, I thought I remembered getting the first Warlord. Now, that might not have been because 1974, I was still only 4 or 5 years old. I do remember The Bullet because you got a little plastic bullet with the first issue, I think. But then again, my dad could have got the Warlord because he liked all the old little commando books. So he might have bought it, but definitely remember it in me growing up in my life. It ran for 12 years, 627 issues, from 1974 to 1986. It was then incorporated into Victor, and for the next 4 years, Warlord summer specials were made until its ultimate end in 1991. So Wayne sent me, Military Helmets sent me a couple of annuals. One of them is from 1987, Christmas. Is it Christmas? It says 1980, it's a book for boys, 84 and 87. Towards the end, you do see a bit of a change in the way it's set out. Not taking a light refreshment at all. So I will go through them and try and what I could say is these things wouldn't be made nowadays. If you think in Australia now they've banned all sale, trade, exchange, import, export of anything with a swastika on. So straight away, you get a year in prison. You get a year in prison if you get caught doing it, apparently, or you can get a year in prison. So everything from books to this, and obviously times have changed since then. I do find it a bit, the people who could have or should have been offended by symbols of the Third Reich were the people who were alive in the 70s who fought against the Nazis or were imprisoned by the Nazis, who were all long probably dead now. Not people in this day and age. I mean, this comic, if it were to be made today, you can imagine headline story, the story every week. Parachute behind enemy lines into occupied France with the easily hurt feelings of today's paratroopers or soldiers. Oh, Sergeant, that German's just threatened to kill me. I need my safe space. It just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Couldn't work. I understand they are a bit, what's the word? Gung-ho. They're a bit, I I can't remember the exact phrase, but we'll have a look through. I think the artwork on the front is excellent. So that's obviously someone's address from before. I'm going to frame a couple of these, at least, if not all of them, I get the space. So they had the same people, same stories every week. Killer Kane, can't remember who redid. I did read them all. But the thing about them, for the fact that all the Germans were sausage munchers, the Italians were spaghetti crunchers, and the Japanese were nips, which actually nip, I think it means Nippon, which was is not the name for Japan, or an archaic name for Japan. But they're also called other things as well. And it is impossible stories. Some of them are a bit, you're kidding me, that's not going to happen. But in between that, there was educational stuff, actual stuff that's happening now in the armed forces, Union Jack Jackson, and the way they portray the Japanese soldiers there. But maybe that's how people saw them. I don't know. In the war itself, I mean, what did the Japanese think of the British soldiers? What did the Germans think of the Russians? You know, there's such national stereotypes abound in here. We live in a different age nowadays. A case of death. And all the Allies are always square-jawed. Tommy Atkins War. The other thing I'd say is that, and the people are writing into the magazine, again, educational, about D-Day. There is a tendency in some of these. Codename Warlord, he's in every week. Peter Flint. I never wrote off for these sort of things, though. I don't know why I didn't as a kid, but I didn't. There are good Germans and bad Germans. You know, there's that sort of the good Wehrmacht and the nasty SS. And the kid who had this originally is obviously cut some stories out. And obviously Peter Flint there in his very 1970s lounge suit. Flash Flanagan. Ghost Fighter. Again, the back's being cut off. I think one of the letters to the comic says that there was something on the back every week. The return of the sniper. Union Jack Jackson again. Force Viper. Fire away. And these are stories about what kids are saying that their parents are. I think. Well, I put a piece of paper in there. So let's have a look. From my school in Malta, I can see across a small valley to Lugo Airport. About 1:20 p.m. on October 14th, I saw an RAF Vulcan bomber make its approach. Suddenly, the Vulcan exploded. The plane carried a 7-man crew, but only 2 managed to parachute to safety. The plane plummeted into a small village, bursting into flames. Have I got a pointer in here? A pen. Bursting into flames, where are we? No pen, there's a pen. Within minutes, crash carts, ambulances, and fire engines rushed into the scene. Soon, helicopters from HMS Hermes, anchored in Grand Harbour, arrived at the scene and disappeared into the smoke to look for survivors. Later on, RAF Canberra flew over, taking pictures. In all, 6 people were killed and 20 injured. That did happen. I looked it up this morning, so there you go. Force Viper. A lot of it is behind enemy lines. Excuse me. It's like cold going on, don't worry. Desert Hawk. And some of the sort of national stereotypes, as was the time. You know, it's what things were. Now we've gone the other way completely. Codename Warlord. As a kid growing up, a lot of my friends were into, kids I was growing up with, were into the soccer, you know, sport, football, shoot magazines. I never was. I was into this completely. And I loved every minute of it. Right, what's this one? Oh, there we go. I just put a little marker in there. Dear Lord Peter, hope you are well. I thought you would like to know about the Warlord secret agent group I am starting. The unusual thing about this is we're all girls. The code we have adopted is known as the Base 5 code. Obviously, I can't let it be published. Non-agents will be able to see it. So these are kids writing in saying they'd made their own dens and stuff like that. And that they were all girls. I mean, you know, maybe the olden days weren't as bad as people make out. Well, they weren't because I was there. Trooper Trelawney. Fight or Die. Again, the back's being cut off by the child who got the comic. You're going to be bored. Union Jack Jackson again. A Tommy Atkins War again. The artwork, very good. And that's the PG chips, monkey, chimpanzee, Digger Dan, roaring around on a motorbike he's nicked. It's a lot of the stories were so contrived. It's, you know, obviously not real. And then again, it's given you, name the airplanes. It's given kids stomach exercises for kids. If you can do this, it'll improve your fitness levels. Codename Warlord. The Brits always win in the end. And I suppose I quite liked that growing up, to be honest. Being proud of your country, being proud of the nation state, I suppose. Is there anything wrong with that? People tell you nowadays that there is. I don't think these things, if anything, looking back on them now from an adult's eye, they're a bit, the stories aren't, but it's aimed at children. Do I think? I mean, look at the artwork on that. That's a fine piece of artwork. That's going to look nice on the wall. Jungle Pilot. I mean, the way that the Japanese soldiers portrayed there against the stern-jawed Brit, that's just a sign of the times. Making the baddie look worse, more evil looking, I suppose. Well, they do that in modern Hollywood nowadays, don't they? So, what the problem is. I think this just did see the end of its time. Blitz. Photograph of the Blitz. And again, someone's cut out. They're cutting out. This is a really good one here, so I'll just have to... Right, okay. Dear Lord Peter, last week I left my friend's house to go home. As I needed home, I noticed my bedroom light was on. So I went back to fetch my friend and we crept into the house to investigate. We found my brother going through my toys and books, so we captured him and interrogated him. He said he'd been searching for my Warlord code so he could read the letters my friend and I wrote to each other. We told him the best way to get the code was join the Warlord Secret Agent Club and become a member. That way he could join him all himself. Interrogate, what did they do to him? Poor kid. We interrogated him. Codename Warlord again. Some of the artwork in here inside that isn't as good as the covers. It's a bit sloppy in time, but it's only a child's magazine. Oh, there's the goodies. Get a goodies thing. Do the illustrators get jobs like this now. Now I do remember them. I honestly do. Bullets, because it came with bullet. Yeah, definitely. I remember those little aircraft. There was a Heinkel 111 as well. There you go. Going back to the 1970s, we're still almost now. Don't worry, it's probably going to be a 25-minute video. This just fast forward. Jungle Pilot. Sniper. Union Jack Jackson again. Rough Justice. Advertising Airfix models. Again, a bad Nazi, good German thing. Asterix the Gaul, I remember them. Grimm's Gunners. Codename Warlord. Again, the child, the owner, the original owners, chomped a bit out of it. Blood Island. I honestly, if someone had said to me, I mean, that's obviously not politically correct now, that advert. If someone had said to me, was it mainly German, and I remember them as well, I do remember them, Scalecraft. I'm going to look on eBay so I can get one, because I had one. It wasn't that, I don't think. I think it might have been a Jeep, I can't remember. But I do remember that. Snapped it all together, those little batteries, let them go. And obviously there's Commando magazines. Someone had said to me, was it more British, German, and there was Japanese? I'd have said more British and German myself, but I'm obviously wrong. But I'll have a quick look through the... Again, at the beginning, SS Ohio, about the Malta convoys. Camphor Group Falcon, that was another one. A German in a penal battalion who'd been, made do all the dirty jobs. War Beneath Waves, again, giving kids and young adults an idea about what went on in the war. The Wellington bomber, each page has got, as well as the stories. I remember those on Blue Peter, the robot doing the bombs when it was the sort of bomb campaign, the IRA. Union Jack Jackson again. Fairy Battle. With Armstrong Whitley Whitworth. Riker. And this is Sandra Meteor. You look that up, Sandra Meteor to London was a film about the famous ship. Now, what I did notice about, I think that's actually one. So, I mean, there is a politically incorrect word there. The 1984 book had some slight changes, as the 1987 one definitely. towards more of an enlightened age, if you like. There is a story, that Riker's story, is a black guy leading a patrol. The American Army was segregating in World War II, but you know, the times have changed. The time was changing, and this again, a little bit of factual info, front and back. And we'll just flick through. You want to, and you know, quite often in these stories, the boss or the senior officer or the NCO is a complete git with a double chin who's all trying to shaft the hero. And this one here is absolutely like, you just go, what? Raider Rolf goes into action with his axe and his antique Viking helmet. Modern warships. Which was good for a kid when, like me, yourself, you're interested in this sort of thing. And they introduced some more ethnically diverse characters that would that were heroes. Right at the end of its life, the Warlord. Did you go to a show, you didn't see World War II stuff as necessarily. You might see the RAF or the Navy doing something to recruit people. So as a kid, 9, 10-year-old, you might recognise the things that they're trying to show you, the equipment. And this is quite interesting. Underwater Warrior. So for the Spectrum, or Commodore 64, 16, and 128, you would type in all this code. If anyone's like under the age of 30, you'll go, what? Type in all this code, and you'll get a minesweeping game. Now, I had the Commodore VIC-20, which is, so this is 87, 5 years before, so it was like complete Stone Age. You could type all that in. Take your ages. You start the game, and the ship will be upside down, or the torpedo will fire over that way because you've made one mistake on the thing. But that used to come with computer magazines quite often. You'd type the game in yourself, code by code, and it was never any good, to be honest. Union Jack Jackson again. He's in Europe this time. This one, I just did not get it at all. This one was like, what is going on? Psych, the backstreet pilots, was something to do with technology in the Mac. Made up NATO. I don't know what was going on there. I couldn't get my head around it. Again, factual. Again, this is Riker, Sergeant Riker. He takes a more forceful role in this story. It's 3 years after that. Again, it's the end of its life. This is about reenactors in the late 80s or 87. There is a bit about terrorism, and that we just missed the story. Camper Group Falcon again. Different things through the ages, air defences. I think there seems to be a little different artists doing it. I mean, I've just changed my mannequin from, well, that's set up at the top. How the British Army is, and partisans. I think there's a whole section devoted to partisans. There you go. Okay. Snobby sniff. Yeah, so that's, you get the idea of the Warlord magazines, and sort of paint on the back of it. But yeah, so my plans for these are pick probably one or two or three of them and frame them and put them on the wall. I've read them, and I'd like to thank Military Helmets again. Please check out his Instagram page and join him and follow him. Get him to 1,000, and I'll keep on in touch with him. Get a YouTube video done, because like that's the way forward, honestly. He doesn't live far from me, about 35-40 minutes up the road. I'd like to thank him again for that. That was an excellent present you gave me. Made me smile. I don't smile very often, so my wife says. So, this is Stan. I missed out for rugby. Well, I missed the first game. I'll bother about that. Second game coming. So this is Stan. That is the non-politically correct Warlord, but it was the 1970s, and that's how things were. So this is Stan, and I will see ya.